Well, good morning, fun lovers. I'm George McClellan. This is the third hour of FetchYourNews.com, FYN TV, North Georgia's only live internet talk show. Isn't it a glorious day? We've had our rain, the drought is broken, the rivers are running again, the streams are filled, the fish are happy, the fire department's happy, the burning ban has been lifted, the fog lifted off the Coosawattee River this morning, the sun is burning it up. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Aren't we fortunate to be living in North Georgia in the mountains? I mean, I just love it up here. And I can picture myself at no other place than right here in North Georgia. The picture behind me is a reminder of what happened on this date. In 1941, I was 2 years old. I only recall the reaction that my parents had when they heard the news on the radio. For some reason, that reaction is indelible in my mind. I also recall the reaction my mom and dad had when President Truman dropped the atom bomb on Hiroshima. And these things were so, I mean, the electricity that came through my family was enough to just stick in my mind. Of course, over the years, everything's being reinforced by photos like this, newsreels, I mean, and the daily thing almost every day on television on one channel or another. That was an attack on American soil, only equaled by 9/11. In this attack, we knew who the enemy was. They came in airplanes and on ships blazoned with their symbol. We are the Empire of Japan, and we want to destroy you. And a prepared America, well, they were unprepared. They knew it was coming. Militarily, they were ready, but they were not ready for the attack. There's some controversy over that now because there are some files that have been released and opened up, which actually showed that President Roosevelt probably did exactly the same thing that Winston Churchill did when they discovered that the Enigma, and they could read the German codes, and to take immediate action because they had opened the German codes would signal the Germans that their codes had been broken, and he would change it. And the same thing applied to the Japanese. We did not really break Japanese codes until after Pearl Harbor. The JN code, with JN being Japanese Navy, the JN code, we figured that one out when they figured out the Midway Island, a place I've been many times and worked out there for over a 3-year period, was in fact the clue to revealing and opening up the Japanese code. Interestingly, for the Germans, for the British, with the Enigma machine of the German Wehrmacht, the whole German military, as a matter of fact, including the Navy, the Kriegsmarine, the clue, which it took them a long time to figure out, was Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler. That showed up on every naval message of submarines sending in weather reports and Navy, German naval commands at sea sending in weather reports. So intelligence and knowing how to understand what you're doing with it is very important. This that we're looking at back here, we probably knew about because we learned it from the Germans, and the Germans didn't realize it. Anyway, Brian Pritchard was talking about the waves that Trump sent through the commercial field of military contractors when he said, well, we should dump this $4 billion project for two airplanes. I will say that one of the reasons those airplanes are so expensive is because of the special requirements in them. Those airplanes are really supposed to be nearly destruction proof. They have certain types of communication in them that require specialized protections, electronic protections, televisions, for example. The TVs in the Air Force One are just little 7-inch TVs. You don't need a massive big TV like you're watching at your home now. But these things cost up to $5,000. Why do they cost $5,000? Because they require certain safeguards that protect the man flying out of the airplane. And I can tell you this, as much as he may want to, Trump will no longer fly in Trump One, his airplane. He will fly in Air Force One. It is required, it is his safety. So with that said, $4 billion, he sent a message to the military contractor community. And he's promised us. He said that he would be getting rid of waste, or he will attack waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, interestingly, last Monday, and this is before Trump made his talk about the $4 million airplane, Trump referred, the Washington Post made a comment that here is the place where Trump can go after waste, fraud, and abuse in the Department of Defense. It offers Trump an immediate opportunity to start working on his legacy, and I don't think he worries about his legacy. I mean, he knows what is required. But the president who eliminates needlessly lost taxpayer money will deserve the public's gratitude and is likely to earn its votes again. He might start looking at the Washington Post story posted last Monday that focused on savings that could be made at the Pentagon. Republicans and Democrats, elected officials and unelected bureaucrats have long resisted change at the Pentagon, but a president unbound by convention, like Trump is, could take it on. Obama is leaving behind a plan that he lacked the will or the stamina to implement. All Trump has to do is pick it up and run with it. The Department of Defense has tried to bury a January 2015 study of its own bureaucracy. This found relatively painless ways to save $125 billion over 5 years without compromising the nation's military might or even furloughing or laying off staff. That is a colossal sum of money. It's almost exactly what the military stands to lose over the next 4 years under sequestration. As the Washington Examiner reported extensively and in detail in its magazine Monday, there are grave fears among the military's top brass and on Capitol Hill that sequestration is undermining military readiness and morale because it is draining away money from personnel and training, and we know that to be a fact. Yet, here is a huge sum, $125 billion a year, being sluiced away. It could and should be diverted to those areas where the military is being starved. Equipment repair, among other things. The plan would achieve, through savings, workforce attrition, early retirement of civilian personnel, proper information technology management, renegotiation of certain unreasonable expensive service contracts, Boeing, for example. No one at the Pentagon has previously done any sort of rigorous analysis of how badly the military budget was being spent. It is the only agency in the federal government never to comply with a 1990 law that requires a complete audit of all operations. And I'll tell you in a minute when I finish with this article why that is and how bureaucracy covers it up. After the report had been approved by the Defense Business Board, the Pentagon pulled it off the internet and suppressed it. The top brass imposed secrecy restrictions on the data, which ensures that no one could replicate the study's findings. Pentagon officialdom might seem different from that of other government departments and agencies, but it isn't. It's just a much larger and better armed wing of the same bureaucracy, according to the article. And it's true, according to my personal experience. And like every other agency, it tries to give the impression that every dime it receives is essential to its status. The decision to suppress the study is very telling about the way Washington works. if you're making the case the military readiness is suffering and military families are living in hardship, it doesn't help your case if you're wasting billions of dollars at the same time. But while the suppression of the report is understandable, it isn't acceptable. It isn't. We cannot tolerate that. We need sunshine in there and an open transparency. Isn't that what Obama said? He wanted his government to be open and transparent. Okay. Money must not be wasted when the organization wasting it is short of funds. For urgent necessities like that's the yin and yang. That's absolute common sense. The military clearly needs money for many of its needs, but the Pentagon must also be held to account and stop wasting. It is massive, secretive, and widely supported by the public in its mission. Republicans in Congress have been disappointingly hesitant to hold its leaders accountable for their budget, that is. And although some liberals or Democrats rail against waste, many Democrat lawmakers are either fearful of appearing to be anti-military or else worried they will lose bases or other installations in their district. This presents Trump, the one candidate who's unconventional candidate who is going to be our next president, who wants to build the military, rebuild the military substantially, with a challenge and an opportunity. He's no respecter of Washington's conventions or taboos, and so he pursues his plan to make the U.S. military great again. We hope he defies the bureaucracy, he will, and begins the process of studying and putting this report's recommendations into effect. Now, you remember the phone call with the Taiwanese president. That was a message sent to China. It was planned for, and the message is delivered. The American president does not need the Chinese permission to talk to anybody, and that message was delivered. The message to Boeing about their $4 billion airplanes is a message delivered. Now, here's why nothing ever gets done in the Pentagon. The military has an absolute plan for its employees, that's military people, and its civilian employees, most of its civilian employees, the worker bees like me, every 3 years or 4, I could expect to be transferred up and moved, family, household, baggage, cat, dog, kids, whatever, and moved to a new duty station. PCS move, they were called permanent change of station moves. I started in Southern California. I moved to the Philippines. Then I moved to Pensacola, Florida. Then I was sent to Hawaii. Then I was sent to Mayport, Florida. And then I was sent to London, England. And then back to and I finished up my career here in Atlanta where I wanted to be. And that took 21 years. I loved it. I loved it. The U.S. Navy is the greatest tour agency in the world. In my organization, before they hired you, you had to know and agree that you were willing to be transferred every once in a while. Once you get to the Pentagon, you don't have to transfer anymore. You can sit in those desks except if you're in uniform. Uniform people get moved. They might get moved around, but there is this inherent layer of people who never move. And the bureaucrats, the low-level bureaucrats, who are civilians, not military, the civilians in the Pentagon are the ones that keep this thing going, and the ones who do not conduct the audits, they're the ones. And it's just like the Congress and the Senate. The congressmen and senators come and go, but their staffs remain, and they'll remain through a retirement. And the only way you can do that, we propose, of course, term limits for congressmen, term limits for senators. How about PCS moves for civilian employees in the executive and in the Congress? Send them out to field, 5 years out in a field station somewhere in the home state, or 5 years overseas in some other capacity, but get them the hell out of Congress. They can keep their jobs like I kept mine, but they just have to be willing to move. And that's what I propose that, and it will work. And a lot of people who don't want to move because their kids are in school and their house mortgage and all that. I had kids in school. I had house mortgages. But I'll be damned. I was willing to go. My family was willing to go. We loved to travel. And we went. We absolutely went. So if you didn't want to go, you don't get a job. Something like that. If you're not willing to move every 3, 4, 5 years, then don't hire on. Go do something else. Go to work for a CNN or Times. Anyway, I got to pay for this segment. Haven't paid for it yet. So we'll see you on the other side of these important commercial announcements. Thanks.
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did you?
It's not important, Jan. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. And later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian. Or listen to jazz. Or try my hand at needlework. Or open a door for a beautiful woman. Or read a human interest story or make dessert wine. Or ride a wild horse. Or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the Hut.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine.
El Rey.
El Rey and Ellijay.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Days ahead. When Days Chevrolet in Jasper gives thanks, we give big. With over 20% off MSRP on remaining 2016 models and savings up to $10,000. New Silverado Crew Cabs from just $31,900. Or get 20% off MSRP plus days discounts on 2016 Malibus. Now just $18,900. Save up to $10,000 off MSRP today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow, and then I can finally get back home. Round, round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza, proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Well, welcome back. George McClellan here at FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live internet talk show. You can reach me if you want to talk at 706-889-9700, or you can send me an email to George at FetcherNews.com. So we're done with saving money for the military, or for the military and for Trump's program of waste, fraud, and abuse. I've given you some ideas. Let's move on to something else here. I was distressed. The death of Castro, our Obama, and I refuse to call him president. I will not use the two words together. Obama sent nobody, no high-level official in 2013 to the funeral of Maggie Thatcher. I had met Maggie Thatcher personally. I have her personally autographed book to George and Ed over there. One of her special branch detectives was her bodyguard. He was my friend, and through that medium I've met him and other people high up in the British government. But our Obama hates the British, and he thinks the British, he accuses the British or charges the British with being responsible for colonialism, which has imperiled the black race in Africa. One of the first things that Obama did was return the bust of Winston Churchill to the British ambassador, and it was on TV. He sat there and handed this guy the bust. Get rid of this damn thing, is what he said. I wrote an article right after November the 8th. I said, first thing Trump should do is ask for the bust back. It's back. The bust is back. It has been given back. Well, anyway, President Obama sent high-level administration officials to the funeral of Fidel Castro, but he didn't send anybody like that to the funeral of Maggie Thatcher. After Castro's death, Obama released a statement saying, "History will record and judge the enormous impact of this singular figure on the people and the world around him," end quote. They must have spent hours trying to craft that sentence. It makes no reference to Castro's legacy of tyranny, the destruction Fidel Castro left for the Cuban people, nor did it explain to us how much Castro's communist ideology played a role in 50 years of humanitarian catastrophes during his regime. Obama sent Ben Rhodes, the White House Deputy National Security Advisor and one of the president's closest friends, to attend Castro's funeral, along with the U.S. ambassador to Cuba, and that's the new guy, Jeffrey De Laurentiis. Doesn't he make clothes or something? Isn't he a tailor? I don't know, or a haberdasher. Rhodes became notorious this past spring when he boasted of selling a narrative about the U.S.-Iran nuclear deal to journalists to push the president's agenda through Congress. Well, that's as rotten as that Iran deal is. That was his job. He was also a key player in opening up relations between the United States and Cuba in 2015, ending for no known good reason at all a long-standing American policy to isolate the communist nation and keep it isolated. The Obama administration failed to send any high-level member to Thatcher's funeral in 2013, which many British saw as a snub. It was more than a snub. It was a damn right, outright insult of their famous leader. Nor was that the first sharp elbow thrown at legendary British leaders by the Obama administration, and I mentioned the returning the bust of Winston Churchill. The words and actions of an administration, such as who a president chooses to ascend to a funeral, have a heightened influence on the global stage without the chief executive ever having to act officially. Normally, that silly goose Joe Biden would have attended funerals, but he didn't quite go. I don't know, he might have been having prostate problems. I don't know his problem. They did not send him even to Castro's funeral. But anyway, Harry Truman said that presidential power is the power to persuade. We call it the bully pulpit. The bully pulpit is the power. This power to persuade leads to the more tangible power to negotiate. Where have we heard negotiate before? Perhaps the most important presidential role in foreign relations. That the president seemed also willing to symbolically and concretely abandon the special relationship that the U.S. has had with Britain while going out of the way to tiptoe around the sore spots of Cuba's regime is a reversal of priorities for a nation that stood as a beacon for the free world. Trump might close that door again. He sent the signal. I think the signal is out there. Castro and Thatcher stood at opposite ends of the Cold War in the ultimate test of freedom against authoritarianism. Castro was a revolutionary communist who battled with the United States for decades, and Thatcher was a legendary Cold Warrior who stood shoulder to shoulder with President Reagan against international communism. And that was back in the 1980s. When Thatcher was elected Prime Minister in 1979, she, along with Ronald Reagan, pursued a more confrontational approach to the Soviet Union, which she viewed as a primary global threat to human liberty. She saw the difference between free countries, like the United States and Great Britain, and authoritarian regimes, like under the Soviet Union and Cuba, as fundamentals. Like Reagan, who called the Soviet Union an evil empire, in a famous 1983 speech, Thatcher theoretically undermined the tyrannical regimes and indicated that a mere détente with them was not acceptable. It was not acceptable. Anyway, that's what our outgoing president thinks about his role in the world. He supports communism. He does not support freedom and equality. He certainly does not support our allies, Israel, of course. We already know his feelings about Israel and Great Britain. But he didn't mind going to Great Britain and have dinner with the Queen, then interrupted protocol by offering a toast while the Queen was still talking. It's amazing. When you have nobody skilled in social graces to tell some dignitary or high-ranking official how things are conducted and when and where, what the cues are, it's a show. It's all a show. And he disgraced himself in front of Queen Elizabeth at that big banquet in his tails and everything. Made his speech and had his little drink and sat down, hobnobbed with the Queen. And what did the American media talk about? The dress that Michelle Obama was wearing. You might have seen it on the news today, as a matter of fact. Michelle Obama is now being considered, lacking the fact that the Democrat Party has no depth in leadership, none whatsoever, putting her up to run against Trump for president in 4 years. Just put that in the back of your mind. Michelle Obama, candidate for president for the Democrat Party. Now, she never said she'd like to do it. It's just an idea floated out there, and they got 4 years to convince her that she could. So let's see what happens there. Obama is still in denial on losing the election, and he still denies he had anything to do with creating the Islamic State. And talking about, well, he's on his way out. I don't know why, I cannot understand why I even have to bring it back up, except it leaves holes, it fills up holes in my thinking that need to be addressed. House Minority Whip, that's Steny Hoyer, Democrat, Minority Party, pushed back Tuesday against chatter that House Democrats have a short bench of up-and-coming members. Okay, let's see what he has to say. During a meeting with reporters in the Capitol, Hoyer said Democrats have a deeper bench than many realize or tend to believe, pointing to some members who have left for higher office in recent months as a sign of strength. Well, they were rats leaving the ship, fleeing the sinking ship. He also referenced those added to the lower levels of House leadership and whip post. Well, what else can he do? I mean, they reelected, my God, they reelected as their leader, Nancy Pelosi. If that's not enough to make you sick, well, I got to earn some more money for this section of this hour, so we'll see you on the other side of these important commercial breaks. Cole, would you be so kind?
Yes.
Thank you.
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did you?
It's not important, Jan. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. And later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian. Or listen to jazz. Or try my hand at needlework. open a door for a beautiful woman, or read a human interest story, or make dessert wine, or ride a wild horse, or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the Hut.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
When Days Chevrolet in Jasper gives thanks, we give big. With over 20% off MSRP on remaining 2016 models and savings up to $10,000. New Silverado Crew Cabs from just $31,900. Or get 20% off MSRP plus days discounts on 2016 Malibus. Now just $18,900. Save up to $10,000 off MSRP today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow, and then I can finally get back home. round, round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza, proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Well, welcome back, friend. George McClellan at FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live internet talk show. If you want to talk, I can be reached at 706-889-9700. You can contact me also by email, george@FetcherNews.com. So I have been talking about the fact that the Democrats have don't have a vast field or pool of people to draw from. When they bring somebody forward to be a candidate, they have to have some kind of a recognition. Michelle Obama has recognition. Everybody knows who she is. She was a lawyer. So she does have some training, some experience. And so look for the Democrats to try to push her forward in 4 years. But Denny Hoyer, he's trying to pass off that, yes, we have a secret base out there of thick with people eager and ready to go into combat against those wicked Republicans and return America to its rightful socialist roots. I don't see that happening. But one of the people that Hoyer pointed out was Maryland Representative, he's a Democrat, of course, Chris Van Hollen. He won the race to replace Senator Barbara Mikulski in the Senate. And then in California, Representative Xavier Becerra, who is leaving the House to become the state's new Attorney General, as examples of what the House has produced. I know nothing about these people. We'll have to wait and see what kind of a resume that the Democrat Party can build up for them and make them acceptable and sellable. But I can tell you one thing, it ain't going to be socialism. That's going out the door. The sigh of relief that I encounter every day in my workings, running around this community, nobody talks about Hillary or Obama. It's just a sigh of relief, and people are so happy. Anyway, back to Donald Trump. Trump has a lot of things to look at and consider in his administration. He said we're going to see what he does in the first 100 days. But I have to say, in my own field, he will have to address or turn his eyes to the intelligence community. We hear that Trump is not listening to or taking his daily intelligence briefing. And he's probably not, for two reasons. Reason one being he's not the president yet. Other people are getting the information that he will get as president, and they're telling him about it. But number two is the intelligence product isn't really that trustworthy anymore. And it is because of bureaucracy and too many fish in the pot to try to make sense of what one group says over what another group says. And recommendations are starting to come in. During the Bush administration, after 9/11, they created a new level of bureaucracy called the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, another bureaucracy which has thousands of salaried and contract employees that work for the DNI, and they have not made our human intelligence collection capability any better, not 1 ounce better. They have made it a more ponderous and much more expensive operation, and the recommendation is to end the DNI, flatten the machine, put the emphasis back on collection rather than on process. And I agree with that. I was a source handler. I had learned how to develop sources. This was in the counterintelligence and a counter-criminal mode, I might say. No big spies or anything like that. I developed them. They were employees of the Navy, foreign employees of the Navy over in the Philippines. it was a great operation. We learned how to, all of the agents assigned to this project, learned how to develop spies and develop networks and bring information in. And as a case handler or the agent handler, we could analyze the information we had. We could proof test it, find out whether the information was legitimate or the guy was just trying to earn money with false news, something else we hear in the news today. So I do have the skills, and I do have the ability to comment on this. Next thing is, agencies should stop trying to duplicate the CIA. The CIA has enough problems as it is. On any given day, every other person in Washington, D.C. can describe himself as an intelligence officer of some sort. I can. But I wasn't a CIA agent. I worked for the Navy, and I had my mission, and I knew what my job was. Yeah, it was counterintelligence, basically, and that was basically designed to prevent the Russians, the Poles, and East Germans from co-opting U.S. Navy and Marine Corps personnel and turning them into spies. It had to work. It worked. But it was interesting. But a significant portion of those claim that they are human intelligence sources, and which is what I did. I worked with human people, human intelligence, as opposed to signal intelligence, listening to radio signals from the moon. I suppose it is their job to recruit sources. Yes, that's what I did. Meet sources and produce intelligence, and that's what all of us did in our group. But almost none of these people work for the CIA. Absolutely true. And we did not try to duplicate the CIA's job. If we ran into something that was of interest to that agency, we told that agency. We had contacts with them in the embassy. The U.S. military has a legitimate need to collect battlefield intelligence and run tactical sources. Precisely correct. That's what we did. Law enforcement, local and otherwise, has a similar need to collect criminal intelligence. That was something else that we did. We collected criminal intelligence. None of these organizations has a need to be collecting intelligence at a strategic level, duplicating the reason for the CIA's existence anyway. And the CIA came out of the old OSS, a World War II organization that actually sent spies, combat trained, women and men, combat trained behind the German lines for whatever mission they had to do. The only group that I know of outside of the CIA who actually conducts foreign counterintelligence is the New York City Police Department. And they're good. They're very good. They're so good that the CIA has even, I don't know if they still do it, I think they still do it, but the CIA has even assisted them in their collections because the CIA will be a recipient of their product anyway. If they're going to do it, do it. The thing about New York City is they have people from every country in the world in their police department who speak these foreign languages. Why not use it? Why not use it? I'm sure some of these people, if they have enough formal education, are probably recruited by the agency. All well and good. If the CIA isn't cutting the mustard, which it is not right now, the answer does not lie in allowing a vast number of other entities to begin doing its job. The answer lies in fixing the CIA and getting it to perform the job the task it was originally designed to. The U.S. military in particular has plenty of other work to do on any given day without attempting to take over the world of espionage. Espionage, that's a wonderful word, I love it. All right, I'm going to end my little intelligence. I told you that I would do an intelligence report once a week, and that's it for this week. This is Wednesday. My next thing is I'm going to read you my final thoughts, which Well, let me see if I can get out of here. Yes. Here we are. This is the last thing I want to say on this subject. Well, I think it's the last thing I want to say. I titled this, and what about Hillary? Remember the movie, What About Bob? That's where I got the idea. What about Hillary? Like a clothes hamper full of old gym socks, the disgusting, smelly aura of Hillary's campaign still lingers in the air. Obama has been swept away, and while he still has a few days remaining of his pointless final term, he still has his phone and his pen. But what about Hillary? The Clinton crime family, hopefully, is on the cusp of collapse, if not incarceration. The Marxist corrupted Democrat Party is beginning its leaderless trek, wandering through the Sinai wilderness, while America's ship of state hopefully is beginning to right itself. But what about Hillary? There is still that niggling little thought that wakes us up in the middle of the night and asks us, is justice being served? Has Hillary really avoided facing justice for her alleged crimes? Is it true that her criminality in her reckless pursuit of absolute political power will be ignored? Will she have her day in court, or will she, as usual, find respite from the pardon pen of a failed president? Circumventing or ignoring the rule of law is a serious threat to civil order. Satisfaction does not come from the court of public opinion. Hillary's crimes must be adjudicated in a court of law so that Americans who have finally cast off the burden of facing a corrupt government can finally have confidence restored in their new government's impartiality. Hillary is no longer a government employee, either politically or as an elected official or as a secretary from the General Services pool. She is now a private citizen, and like the rest of us, not immune to punishment for brazenly violating the rule of law. She must not be treated any differently than any other person, General Petraeus, for example, who mishandled classified government documents. Hillary's mishandling of state secrets severely imperiled America's standing in the world of diplomacy. Her perjury before Congress is breathtaking. Without a public trial, a thick cloud of doubt could imperil Trump's government. Evidence of the seriousness of Hillary's criminality, revealed to the public in congressional hearings and by James Comey, director of the FBI, has clearly shown her to have brazenly defied, knowingly, U.S. laws and has avoided penalties to its equal application that everyone else faces. A founding principle of our Constitution, I would say. Hillary is no longer a special person, and except for being the wife of a former president, she, unlike Lucretia Borgia, is afforded no special protections against charges of endangering the nation or even of perjuring herself. The many syncopate operatives within the Democrat machine, the other socks in the hamper, so to speak, that abetted her criminality must also face the trial court for adjudication, or Americans will never be satisfied. This extends especially to the appointees of Obama's administration, who have been ensconced in the Department of Defense, the Internal Revenue Service, the Environmental Protection Agency, and many other organs of government control. The government, nor its employees, are omnipotent from federal law. Government employees are subject to prosecution for crimes committed under their jurisdiction. As the EPA is finding out now, following the Animas River, New Mexico pollution fiasco a couple of years ago. Remember the Yellow River? It's still yellow. All of Hillary's actions and government reactions to it lies in the lap of Barack Obama and the Democrat Party. Trump is free of criticism and will remain so unless he complicates justice by meddling in its true course. A pardoned Hillary Clinton, freed without adjudication by a court of law, will hang over the pardoner and his party like a thick London fog. It can bode no good for the pardoner. Trump must let the wheels of justice function without interference. America's body politic must be cleansed of its heresies, its corruption, and its corrupt. Justice must be served. Remember, freedom is the goal. The Constitution is the way. And on that note, I will bid you farewell until tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock when I'll return for my last hour this week, Thursday. We'll see you then.